Like a star on Broadway, Jung Hoo Lee exits stage right.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. My name is Ben Kaspick, and on the show we provide daily episodes Monday through Friday, talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that's data-driven and rational, but also simple, passionate, and accessible to all. I'm a former contributor for the baseball statistics and analysis websites Beyond the Box Score and Rotographs. I've been podcasting about the Giants since 2015, hosting the show for over 6 years, and I'm a lifelong Giants fan. Thank you for making Locked On Giants your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, so check us out there if you have not already, and please hit that subscribe button wherever it is that you're following the show. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. And coming up on today's show, speaking of their first year, yes, technically it was last year for Jung Hoo Lee, but this year it is a coming out party in the first 14 games of the season. Jung Hoo Lee is probably the guy worth talking about in Major League Baseball more than anybody else right now. He is the most searched player on Fangraphs. He has been trending at the top of their player search bar for a while. And even he got a Jeff Passan tweet today after his performance in New York. That's what happens when you go into New York and you put on a show like Jung Hoo Lee did. You get guys like, national guys like Jeff Passan tweeting about you. And so Jeff Passan tweeted this out. Current OPS leaders in MLB. Number 1, Aaron Judge. And then he lists, 1,228. Number 2, Pete Alonso. Number 3, Jung Hoo Lee. Number 4, Kyle Tucker. Number 5, Corbin Carroll. So those are all superstars. I think Tucker and Carroll are underrated, and Pete Alonso, debatable, I guess, if he's a superstar, but definitely a force with the bat. And then there's Jung Hoo Lee right in the thick of it. And yes, it is a small sample, but here's the little follow-up from Passan. He says, after missing most of last season with a torn labrum, Lee has been one of the best players in baseball this year for the 11-4 Giants. And he sums it up. He's right. And that's the thing. When you go to New York, they actually see it because they're not asleep when your games are occurring. But I'm not trying to dunk on Passan. I think Jeff Passan is a good baseball writer. But yeah, Jung Hoo Lee today, he got Carlos Rodon twice. 2 homers against Rodon. You know how many left-handed hitters have done that against Rodon in Rodon's career? None until today. No left-handed hitter had ever hit 2 home runs against Carlos Rodon in a game in his career. And he did, and Jung Hoo Lee did it. And so on the season now, after having 2 more hits today, both home runs and a walk, they only got him out once. He now, for the season, is hitting .352 with a .426 on base percentage and a .704 slugging. It's a .214 weighted runs created plus, meaning he's been 114% above average offensively. So that's where the small sample comes into play. But the power, the fact that he has been a doubles machine. He's got 8 doubles, a triple, and now 3 home runs out of 19 hits. And so that's 12 extra base hits and 7 singles. And that's just incredible, especially because, one of the big questions was how much power can this guy really hit for? And it could be ultimately that he doesn't hit for a ton of power. And admittedly, that second home run that Jung Hoo Lee hit, a 3-run shot that turned a 4-2 deficit into a 5-4 lead against Rodon. High hanging curveball that he just pummeled. I forget where I was going with that. Oh, it was just, a Yankee Stadium home run. It was like the first row of the short porch. But nonetheless, I mean, the at-bat quality is just off the charts. Jung Hoo Lee has looked like, I mean, I don't want to say it. It's early. It's a little early to be making declarations like this, but he's looked like a star player. And, the projections for Jung Hoo Lee coming into the season and even coming into last season were that of an all-star caliber player. And so this is not surprising in the sense that, like, he's performing well, but he's obviously red hot and exceeding all expectations. Well, I don't want to say that, but, because good players get hot like this. And what's especially exciting is that he's kind of unique in that he's so hard to strike out and he's so hard to throw the ball by. Like, when he swings and misses, it's pretty shocking. It's kind of like, Steph Curry missing a free throw. The percentages are similar, especially in the strike zone. Coming into today's game, or this is being recorded on Sunday night, coming out on Monday. So coming into Sunday's game, Jung Hoo Lee's zone contact rate was 95.5%. So that's very similar to a Steph Curry missed free throw. Just for comparison, not to rub salt in the wounds of Warriors fans, but, it's just, if you throw a ball in the strike zone, he's like almost always going to make contact. And then he's been really good at not chasing out of the zone, and thus the 11.5% walk rate, which is, a few percentage points above Major League average. He's walked 11 times in 61 trips to the plate. And his takes are just so easy. It's like he reads the ball immediately out of the hand as a ball. There's not even like the thought of swinging a lot of the time. And so I've just been exceptionally impressed. I mean, I've just been beyond impressed. And then you add that with the fact that I think he is a very good defensive center fielder with speed, with jumps, like routes, and his arm, kind of an underrated factor, and base running. He's been one of the better base runners in the league as well. 1.4 runs above average is what Fangraphs had him in going into that game, which is second, which was tied for second with Pete Crow Armstrong, who's just known for his speed. And yeah, I mean, Jung Hoo Lee has just done it all. And so there were questions. I had to answer a lot of questions going into the season, like, can they really bat him third? He doesn't hit for power. He doesn't really belong there. Well, right now he's looking like, wherever you want your best hitter and wherever you want one of the best hitters in the game, that's where this guy should be hitting. And so I don't want to get too excited. I don't want to get you too excited. It has been not many games, but looking at leaderboards, you're going to see Jung Hoo Lee at the top of most of them. And I don't know, you're not seeing like crazy unsustainable things. I mean, the batting average on balls in play is high, but it's not like 600, it's 372. So that'll probably come down, but it can come down quite a bit and he'll still be good because like he's got a 214 weighted runs created plus. And so I don't know. I mean, it's just hard to be more impressive. Worth pointing out, just to be fair, I want to joke like this is a great contract that Buster Posey handed out. No, it was a Farhan Zaidi signing. I don't want to say it. Jung Hoo Lee was signed by the previous regime. It was a 6-year, $113 million contract. Last year, we just didn't really get a good look at him. He didn't play enough, and he was also adjusting to Major League pitching. And the one thing that I cringe at a little bit, and it's no knock on Zaidi, I think it probably just took this to get the player because it's a big benefit to players, is that he has an opt-out after 2027. And so it's currently like a 3-year deal that's guaranteed, counting this year, not a 5-year deal. So those extra 2 years are not guaranteed for the Giants. They're guaranteed for Lee, but not for the Giants. And so I've seen enough. Like, do something to get that opt-out voided, like add on a couple more years, lock this guy up, make him a Giant until he's 34. I don't care. Like, I've just been that impressed. And maybe I'm overreacting, but exit stage right, ×3. He did it twice on Sunday, and he homered, big homer in the first inning on Friday in the Giants win. So coming up in just a minute, we will get to the other games, what else happened, and how Hayden Birdsong belongs in a Major League rotation, the Giants rotation. We'll get into it in just a minute. And before we do, today's episode of Locked On Giants is brought to you in part by Wonderful Pistachios. Are you looking for a snack that is both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the no-shells variety. It's the perfect grab-and-go snack for busy days. Whether I'm snacking at my desk, hello, I've got some right here at my desk, or on a road trip, or I just need a quick protein boost, they're always my go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are, of course, a classic favorite. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. All right, here we go. We're going to get into some things other than Jung Hoo Lee, even though we really could talk on and on about him based on the performance we've seen so far this year and what he did in Yankee Stadium. And it can't be overstated just how impressive it is and how much of an impact it has on the national media and stuff like that when you go into Yankee Stadium and you do that. So I think not just for Lee, but for this Giants team, like Jeff Passan said in the tweet, he's been one of the best players in baseball for the 11-4 Giants. And so they're going to get recognition for this series going into New York and just beating up on the Yankees and having a player who's kind of a relative unknown in the league. In Lee, people know about him because of the contract that he got, but he hasn't, people haven't probably just seen him play a lot, but then the national media, they saw him play. They see the highlights of what he did in this series, and they're like, oh, okay, this guy's legit. And that's a good thing. And then this Giants team, like, oh, okay, maybe this team is legit. And part of what makes them legit, you saw some of the performances out of the bullpen. And one of my bold predictions coming into the year was that the Giants would have the best bullpen in baseball. And so far, I think we can see flashes as to why that was one of my predictions. I'm looking through my own tweets because I was trying to find that Jeff Passan one, which I retweeted. And there's this guy, Thomas Nestico, on Twitter, who's well worth a follow at TJ Stats. And I've been more and more talking about these kind of new metrics in baseball that quantify the quality of a pitcher's quote unquote stuff. And one of the tweets is about Randy Rodriguez and how Thomas here says Randy Rodriguez is the most underrated relief pitcher in MLB. That was the tweet with a graphic that shows how good his stuff is. And it was just based on the one performance the other day when he appeared in the game and struck out. He faced 4 batters, struck out 2, gave up a hit, and he's just been fantastic. I know he came in and gave up some of Jordan Hicks's runs, came into the, bases loaded, nobody out, and I think they all scored. But that's obviously a tough situation to come into, and you don't fault the guy who came in. You fault the guy who let the guys on base for the most part. Those are Hicks's runs. I'm sure Hicks wasn't very happy, but Rodriguez has been excellent. And then Hayden Birdsong on Sunday pitched out of the bullpen and was also excellent. He just looked dominant. And I was texting with some friends. In fact, one of my former not one of my former co-host, for those of you who have been listening, I said I've been podcasting about the Giants since 2015, used to podcast with a gentleman by the name of Adam Petke, who maybe he listens to the show sometimes, and he and his twin brother and I were texting about what do the Giants do with Camilo Doval, and how do you fill that void? And I mentioned Hayden Birdsong kind of filling that void, but also I was forgetting about Randy Rodriguez at the moment. But in this game, Hayden Birdsong bridged the gap. Logan Webb went 5 innings, and then Birdsong bridged the gap to Tyler Rogers and Ryan Walker. So it like kind of set up perfectly. And the key was that Birdsong needed to pitch well. And part of his 2 innings, he went right through the heart of the Yankees order, facing in an inning, I think in one inning, I don't recall exactly if he faced Judge last or if it was the top of the order. But I mean, he faced Goldschmidt. I mean, Judge may have been leading off, and he struck out Goldschmidt. I think he struck out Judge. I should really look back and see exactly. But the final line for Birdsong was 2 innings, no hits, no walks, no runs, 3 strikeouts. He just went out there and dominated and made the Yankees look silly with his extremely high quality pitches. And so, getting back to this guy I was just talking about on Twitter, Thomas Nestico at TJ Stats, maybe it's Nestico, I don't know. But he also tweeted today, the Randy Rodriguez one was from, I think, Friday. No, it was yesterday. He said, Hayden Birdsong should be starting. The stuff is bonkers. Not just good, bonkers. And you look at the game, you look at the way he's pumping upper 90s, and then he's got a wipeout changeup that's like 90, and he's also got a slider that he was filling up the zone with, and he's got a curveball that's 80 miles an hour. So you got to cover. His average fastball was 97, his curveball is 80, so that's like a 20 mile an hour difference. And then you've got 2 pitches at around 90 in the slider and the changeup that go different directions. And then you look at the stuff plus is kind of the buzzword of the day in baseball, I would say, analytics. Like all of the pitches grade as above average. And then this guy, TJ Stats, also puts it on, he like translates it to scouting lingo on the 20 to 80 scouting scale. How does that translate? How does the quality of the stuff translate? Because scouts try to grade pitches. When you look at scouting reports, they'll put a grade, they'll put a present and like a future grade, like on prospects for their pitches. And so it's useful to see what does this translate to in scouting lingo. And the changeup for Hayden Birdsong comes in with a grade of 80 from this performance today against the Yankees. And it doesn't get higher. 80 is the top. So it had a 117 stuff plus. It had a 100% whiff rate. He threw 5 of them. I don't know how many were swung at. It probably says somewhere. But averaged 89.7 miles an hour. And it graded as 80 on the 20 to 80 scouting scale. And what's crazy, and this is kind of well known because Birdsong's now said it a couple times, but he said his changeup used to be really bad. Like if you look at his scouting report on Fangraphs, it grades his changeup as like a 20 when they did their scouting report. They updated it, I think. Oh yeah, it literally says here, graduation. The addition of a quote kick changeup caused Birdsong's scouting projection to ascend from a good reliever's grade to a mid-rotation starter's grade during his 2024 rookie season. So they had the changeup as a poor pitch, and Birdsong himself said the changeup was a bad pitch. He said it was just a really bad fastball. And that's like analytics of the day are that pitchers, especially, I don't want to say especially, but I think especially younger pitchers, they're into the analytics of their stuff because they know how they're kind of attuned to all the technology that can analyze the movement profiles of their pitches. And they understand that their stuff can be graded, and how much movement are they getting, and these camera, like ultra slow motion HD cameras and whatnot, and just simple tracking technology can tell them exactly how much movement they're getting, horizontal and vertical, and spin efficiency, all this stuff that's even beyond me. But the pitchers, if you listen to Birdsong talk, he's speaking this language. And anyway, he learned this kick change grip watching TikTok last spring training. He just like saw a video about it on TikTok, and then he started messing around with it. And he basically went from a horrible changeup to a disgusting, like elite looking changeup. And the other pitches grade well too. The four-seam fastball gets a grade of 67 on the 20 to 80 scouting scale with a 112 stuff plus. The slider gets a grade of 56. I think average is like 45 in scouting lingo, or 40. 45, 50? That would be halfway between 20 and 80. So slider at 56, curveball at 55, but the four-seamer and the changeup plus two other above-average pitches tells me he should be in a major league rotation. But then you look at, okay, where does he fit right now into the Giants rotation? And there's not an obvious fit unless you ruffle the feathers of a veteran. And I tweeted this out on Sunday evening, that a ruthlessly efficient team would, I'm going to just read what I wrote. A ruthlessly efficient team would probably make sure Birdsong was starting based on how good this stuff is showing up, when you're looking at the analytics of it and just watching the game. I mean, if you just watched him pitch these 2 innings against the Yankees, you're like, okay, that guy, I want him pitching as much as possible. And then I said, but it's hard to see Buster Posey forcing a veteran out of the rotation. Birdsong should eventually get his shot, but it seems highly doubtful that the Giants force a move. The downside of loyalty. And I truly believe that. I don't think that 15 games into the season, they're just going to say, okay, Jordan Hicks, like you had a really good first start, but your last 2 haven't been good. And so you're out and Birdsong's in, even though we promised you when we signed you, it wasn't Posey, that, it was Farhan Zaidi, that you're going to start. So that would not make Hicks happy. And he'd be like, are you serious? After 3 starts, you're just going to give up on me? Then you might say, oh, it should be Justin Verlander. And I would say, no chance. Justin Verlander has never not made a start. He's made 529 appearances in the big leagues, and they've all been starts. He's not ever going to pitch a single inning out of the bullpen for the Giants in 2025. Put it in the bank. And you might say, oh, it should be Robbie Ray. And I would say, oh, but he's got a 2.93 ERA, although based on like stuff quality and all that, he may actually be the guy who makes the most sense. When I look at Jordan Hicks, it looks all above average except actually his four-seam fastball. His sinker, his slider, his splitter, all grade as above average. So maybe a bit of misfortune. I don't know. But I don't see any of those 3, especially Verlander, who also, by the way, even despite the high ERA, almost 7, still has graded as above average stuff. And he said the last time he went out there, it was the best he's felt in years. And he did strike out 9 in like 5 2/3. And so I just don't see them making a move. But to me, it's like the best team would have Birdsong in the rotation right now. Like the best starting rotation they could put out there would include Hayden Birdsong. But I think it will take an injury or just several more starts at least of somebody really struggling for them to make a move. Plus, you'd have to stretch Birdsong out. Right now, he's not used to throwing more than 2, maybe 3 innings. And so that's the reality of the situation. So coming up in just a minute, we'll just turn our attention to the big picture for the Giants. Let's not be too negative about this Birdsong thing. The Giants are 11-4. Things are working. So what's the big picture with this team after 15 games? We will get into it in just a minute, and before we do, today's episode of Locked on Giants is brought to you in part by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it is easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you can stop just managing your money and start building wealth. The key for me is instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals all in one place. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. If you use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com, you will get 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. All right, here we go. We're going to take a step back and look at the state of the Giants 15 games into the season. Obviously, things are in general going well as they are 11-4. It is like crazy. They're 1.5 games out, I think, of first place, whereas in any other division, they would be in first place at 11-4 by a significant margin in most divisions, but yet they're 1.5 games out of first place because the Padres are 13-3 and 10-0 at home. And the Dodgers, by the way, only have a +2 run differential. Dodgers have played one extra game, and they actually have another extra game happening tonight, Sunday Night Baseball. So by the time you listen to this, that game will have concluded. But when I'm recording this, they've played one extra game, and they've scored 3 fewer runs. So it's as if the Giants played tomorrow and scored -3 runs. And in terms of runs allowed, Dodgers have played one extra game and allowed 18 more runs. So it's as if the Giants lost 18 to -3. That's the Dodgers' run differential, or just runs scored, or simple runs scored and runs allowed. So their run differential is only +2 on the season. Do I think that means much? No, not really. But Dodgers pitching has not been great to start the year, but it is early for them. And the D-backs remain pesky and are 9-7 themselves, only 2.5 behind the Giants. So this division is just really, really tough, but thankfully the Giants are part of that discussion big time. With a .733 winning percentage, that is second best in baseball. And so after 15 games, to have the second best record in baseball, hard to complain. Run differential +23. And I don't know, there are just some other trends that stand out to me. Other players, like besides Jung Hoo Lee, really have been scuffling. Like Elliot Ramos has gone through a really rough patch here. I guess he still has an 89 weighted runs created plus, even with a game today where he goes 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. I don't know if he was 0 for 5, but he had 5 plate appearances. He may have been, I think he was just straight up 0 for 5. I do have the box score somewhere. Elliot Ramos, 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Willy Adames, 0 for 3. So, they've got a bunch of guys. Willy Adames has generally, had a really tough start to the season as in terms of, statistics. I think he's had a big positive influence on the team from a cultural and, energy standpoint, but he hasn't gotten it going yet. Although you can look at that as a positive because he will not be this bad. He's going to start hitting for power, which just hasn't happened yet. He's got no home runs. He doesn't have I was going to say he doesn't have an extra base hit. He has 3 doubles in 60, and that's it in terms of extra base hits, in 67 trips to the plate. 11 hits, hitting 186, 269 on base, 237 slugging. So none of that good. Matt Chapman hasn't had a hit in a while, but he's been drawing walks like crazy. His walk rate now 21.5%, hitting 176 but with a 354 on base and a 333 slugging. So it's all about the gap between the slugging and the batting average, which is 157, which is fine. And I think Matt Chapman will be fine. I think Willy Adames will be fine. And I just hope for Elliot Ramos' sake that he snaps out of it and just gets on another hot streak, because it's definitely been a cold spell for Ramos here lately. And, you know, Jordan Hicks is another guy who stands out in terms of it was not a good outing for him. He ended up, you know, like I said, Randy Rodriguez allowed all those runs to score, bases loaded. The conditions were not good. Robbie Ray and Jordan Hicks dealt with really tough conditions, although on the other side, opposing Hicks, Warren, the Yankee starter, was good. And so, you know, Hicks allowed 7 earnings in 4 innings, 8 hits, 3 walks. You know, several of those, you know, 3 of them coming from Randy Rodriguez coming in. Camilo Doval did pitch a clean inning in the middle game, so that was nice to see. And yeah, I mean, let's see. Mike Yastrzemski he moved up to the leadoff spot and got the Giants started. They scored 5 runs before they made an out to start the series in Yankee Stadium. They won the game 9-1, and it only went 5 2/3 innings. No, yeah, 5 2/3. It was the 6th inning with the bases loaded, and the tarp came up. The Giants had the bases loaded, and they put the tarp on, and they never finished the game. So they had an offensive explosion in that first game. Lamont Wade had a hit and 2 walks, so it was nice to see him kind of coming out of it. Tyler Fitzgerald had 2 hits in that game. And today, Christian Koss, Sunday, got his first major league hit. It was just a bleeder infield single. He's looked a little bit overmatched to me, and I do wonder if Brett Wisely would make more sense on this team as a left-handed bat, so you don't have so many righties out there all the time. Like, their whole bench is right-handed when their normal lineup is out there. But beyond that, I mean, Wilmer Flores had a tough day. He's not had a lot of tough days, but today, Sunday, I should say, 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. And pitching-wise, just the bullpen has stood out to me. I think after today's game, there was some tweet about the best bullpen ERAs, and the Giants were, in fact, second in terms of that. And so I'll look coming into Sunday's game, just to finish this one off for you. Best bullpen ERA, Giants were at 1.79, and that was second to the Padres, who didn't use their bullpen today. Their starter pitched a complete game shutout, Michael King. And for the Giants today, Tyler Rogers did allow a solo homer. Thankfully, the Giants had a 2-run lead at the time. First run of the year allowed by Rogers. Hayden Birdsong, though, 2 scoreless innings. So 4 innings, 1 run by the Giants bullpen in this game. On Sunday, 4 strikeouts and 0 walks and just the 1 hit allowed. So doesn't get much better. Giants are rolling. Just keep it going. The key to a great season is winning series, but if you can win series on the road in Yankee Stadium, like it's like kind of playing 500 on the road and winning series at home is going to lead to a good season. But what the Giants are doing right now is above and beyond that. This is like, I'm not saying they're going to have a 2021 like season, but they're playing like 2021. So it's great to see. Some of the credit does go to the previous regime when you look at a guy like Jung Hoo Lee. And that's just worth pointing out. I'm just saying that just to remember, just to be fair. And anyway, it's been a lot of fun. So coming up tomorrow, Tuesday, we will have a breakdown of Game 1 in Philly. The Giants will be facing the Phillies, and it'll be Taijuan Walker facing Landon Roop. I really like Landon Roop as well, and I think Taijuan Walker is one of their weaker starters in Philadelphia, so hopefully the Giants can jump on him and keep the hot bats going and get some guys going who haven't been going. So we'll break it down for you tomorrow. Thanks again for making Locked On Giants your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Once again, I'm Ben Kaspick. Check me out on Twitter or X at Ben Kaspick, Kaspick. If you like this show, please consider rating it or leaving a review. It helps me out so much. So thanks in advance. And thank you to everyone who's done so already. Can't wait to be with you again tomorrow. Thanks again for listening. You are now Locked on Giants.